Yeah, that's right.
I suppose that's how they react when one pisses the other one off. It's like,
whack.
Whack. And,
that's right.
I mean, I suppose that's how a bit of what they do, but you've got to try and
sometimes you've got to
communicate.
Well, sometimes they need to know they've crossed the line too.
Yeah, sometimes there are serious things and they're small, there does come a point where you can communicate with them better and look, I suppose as they start to get older, you have to be able to communicate with them. Otherwise, they won't talk to you and then you're fucked.
Yeah. I don't even want to go down that line.
No,
I don't want to think about that.
That's a long way off, mate. My daughter's 10, she acts like she's 20.
I don't even want to think about teenagers.
No.
Hopefully I'll be able to trust them.
Yeah. What about your old man? Like, do you sort of mentioned it briefly before, you say, when you had kids, you started to see a bit of your father. You start to recognise things.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh yeah, you do it.
They come out in you and.
Mate, it's ingrained, isn't it? And you don't realise how ingrained it is until you have kids, because you spend all this time in the first 5 years with. I can't remember. I can remember probably 3 or 4 memories from that age. But you and I, you've got kids 0 to 5. You remember everything, and you really instill all this stuff in them that you don't realise you're instilling. That you don't realise being instilled in you because you can't remember it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm definitely. There's a lot of things about me that's like my dad. There's a lot of things that are not like my dad, but that's generational gaps sort of stuff. But as far as overall social sort of where we sit, it's pretty similar. I got to say, a lot of the things I expected my kids that my dad expected of me.
Yeah.
But my dad was from nowhere. My dad was from a family of. I was just talking to him about it in Bali 2 weeks ago, and his mum and dad were both drunks, and he was brought up by his sisters. He was basically a street kid. Yeah, he had nothing, absolutely nothing, and lived on. I think he lived on the front of the house on what do you call it? And it was like a terrace in Highgate in West Australia, and slept out front. No security or anything. His 2 sisters took care of him. The parents long gone, down the pub, whatever. And then went and got an apprenticeship as a glazier at 13, 14. And he's worked ever since. Still working now, 74. Still owns his own business.
That's impressive.
Still working 60 years. I hope I'm not working 60 years.
No, like to...
So dysfunctional family. Total dysfunctional family. Dysfunctional area. Came from nothing. And, it's easy to blame your parents for a lot of stuff. And say, well, I didn't make it in society because my dad, was a drunk and was never around, or my mum. But my dad is not of that attitude at all. It's like, you make your own gig. They went around, but I still had my sisters there. They still helped me. And made his own thing. A lot of that's got to do with my mum as well, of course, because she helped build that sort of structure.
Yeah.
But Dad's still he's
what he does.
He worked for Victor Glass in West Australia for a lot of years, and then bought his own company in 1970, Anderson Windscreens, 1971, and had his own business ever since. 30, what are we now? I don't know, 40-something years.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Put his kids through private school.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's impressive. But I suppose that's what we do,
Yeah, and I think the thing about that is that what they gave us is he's got a pretty, he's got the classic, that generation thought processes where you don't waste, you don't do all those things that, are really, you don't waste water, you don't waste, turn the lights off, do this, do that, which is, all our old mans did it. But he also showed me that everything's possible because he's come from nothing. And I live in a family that are all entrepreneurs. So my sisters have their own fashion company, I've got my own company. We all do our own thing now. It's like, so even though he's quite a, quite a rigid sort of, like social norm sort of thing. This is the way it should be. Show me that the possibilities are endless, along with my mum, of course, but my dad really showed me a lot of that as well. And the structured sense of, you've got to be a good guy, you've got to stand up, good handshake, you've got to give all that shit. That's all really important, which it all really is. But you don't put up with anybody's shit. And then, you do what you want, and if somebody pisses you off, you let them know. That's all you have to do. Be honest. That's all it is. And so it's really, go out there and make your own living, which is actually quite nice from a dad.
It's great.
Support.
Yeah, support.
Yeah.
Support support that whatever you do is right. Not whatever you do is right, but the decisions you make, and if they're your own, and
stand
you
by.
go for it.
Stand by. It's true. It's true.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Finished your wine, mate.
I know, fucking hell. Talking all the time.
Pause. Cut.
Oh.